Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So people are losing their minds over prosecutors dropping 3 charges against Diddy, but most don't actually understand what it means. They are just talking without seeing it from a legal point of view. So here's what's really going on. This case has been all over the place, and even the government knows that. That is why, just one day before closing arguments, the prosecutions told the judge they will not be moving forward with 3 charges against Diddy, which are attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking. In a letter filed Tuesday, the government wrote, "The government understands the court's desire for streamlined instructions. With that in mind, the government has suggested ways to streamline those instructions." They went on to say, specifically, the government has removed instructions from the charge relating to attempted kidnapping under both California and New York law, attempted arson under California law, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking. The government is no longer planning to proceed on these theories of liability, so instructions are no longer necessary. So the reason for this is the prosecutors seem to feel they did not prove those parts of the case strongly enough. For example, they haven't proven that Diddy kidnapped former employee Capricorn Clark, who was allegedly taken to a building and forced to take a lie detector test over stolen jewelry, or Cassie, who was allegedly held at the London hotel after she was beaten. So what's even more surprising is they are also not pursuing the claim that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car in a jealous rage. During the trial, prosecutors never directly connected Diddy to the fire, even though we know, okay? These 2 drop charges, attempted kidnapping and attempted arson, are connected to the bigger racketeering charge Diddy still faces. Now, as for the aiding and abetting sex trafficking charge, prosecutors did not explain exactly what part they are cutting, but they made it clear they are not dropping the sex trafficking charges as a whole, just elements of them. The focus is now off aiding and abetting, but the rest of the sex trafficking charges are still very much in play. In their letter, prosecutors also asked the judge to tell the jury, 1, that just because someone like Cassie or Jane gave consent before, it doesn't mean they couldn't later withdraw it. 2, just because someone like Jane received money, it doesn't mean there wasn't forced labor involved. And 3, that coercion and sex trafficking doesn't require physical restraint or a commercial sex act. This update comes after both the prosecution and Diddy's defense team officially rested their cases on Tuesday after 6 weeks of testimony. The defense called no witnesses at all. Instead, they argued the prosecution failed to prove its case. Diddy's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, pushed for an immediate judgment of acquittal, saying there's at best thin proof any of the other employees participated, and there is no evidence any of them believe he was sex trafficking. Okay, now let's be clear. Just because prosecutors drop some charges does not mean Diddy's off the hook or that he's going to walk. What it really means is the government is tightening its case. They know that case had some weak spots, and they don't want the jury to get confused or distracted by charges that might not stick. If the jury focuses too much on the weaker charges, they could end up finding Diddy not guilty on those and possibly doubt the rest of the case too. But by zeroing in on stronger, more specific charges, the prosecutors are hoping to keep the jury focused and help them see the big picture more clearly, duh. Because you better believe, If those weak charges had stayed in, Diddy's defense would have ripped them apart during closing arguments and argued the government failed to prove anything beyond a reasonable doubt, like they have been doing. So prosecutors got ahead of it. Now the defense has to focus on the stronger charges, and that's a whole different fight. You guys, that is what it means. Okay? It doesn't mean Diddy is going to walk free. It doesn't mean that he's not, but it definitely does not mean he's going to walk free because they dropped 3 charges against him, because there are still few left. Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification so you don't miss any new updates. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.